We are back with a great lineup of guests for Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 26th, the day after Memorial Day. Please join us for Malcolm Smith, Patrick Cooney, Adam Zakara, Matt Hurd, Sydney DeCesare, and Maggie McCarthy. That's 3 to 4 p.m. See you then. Hello and welcome to Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 26th. I'm Ed Habashar. I have a great lineup of guests for you today. Two of our segments are pre-recorded. Our final segment of the day was recorded at 9 a.m. this morning with our guests from South Virginia Women's Track and Field. And our first segment with Malcolm Smith was recorded less than an hour ago. So let me show you the lineup for today's guests. We've got on the program for Seahawk Talk Malcolm Smith, Vice President for Student Life and Dean of Students. And Patrick Cooney follows him. He'll be live as our men's lacrosse coach. And Adam Zakara follows Patrick at 3:30. Adam is our men's and women's tennis coach, class of 1995, Seahawk star on 4 teams, and including 3 Commonwealth Coast Conference championships. And then we finished today with the recorded segment, Matthew Hurd, head coach for women's track and field, joined by juniors Sydney DeCesare and Maggie McCarthy. And let me correct that mention of juniors. They're the class of 2021. They are officially now entering their senior year. So congratulations to Sydney and Maggie. And I'll thank them for joining me on the show ahead of time. Our first guest is Vice President of Student Life, and the segment that I put together on him is, in addition to his interview, I've got some footage from September 9, 2019, when he joined Jody Moradian, Director of Athletics, and South Virginia University freshman student athletes, or first-time student athletes, at the DeStefano Lecture Hall over in the Antone Academic Center. And he was given the opportunity to address our students there, and we'll bring you that interview right now.
You'll see me all over the place. Don't hesitate to stop and say hello. There are some certain things that I'm going to play off of here. You are one of the biggest classes of athletes and one of the biggest classes of first-year students, and we do have very high expectations for our students. I have high expectations of all students. I'll let you know that. But then when it comes to student leaders, including student athletes, I have even higher expectations because I look around the room, right? And I would have guessed that more than half of you are wearing the Salve name, right? When you walk out of here with wearing Salve across your chest, you are a representative, you are an extension of the university. And I ask you to do that with a great deal of pride, with a great deal of integrity and dignity, right? Because people see you and they will see us, and vice versa. So we will carry ourselves appropriately. I won't act crazy on the sidelines when you're winning. Well, most of the time. I'll try not to, at least. But I just ask you to lead on the field. I ask you to lead in the classroom, all over campus, and in our community, which our athletes always do a great thing. These are easy expectations for me to stop because you always live up to them. I ask you that you continue to do so. Carry us into the future. Let us know how we can support you. I'm around the dining hall, around lunch almost every day. You'll see me all over campus as an individual if you need anything, as a team if you need anything. Don't hesitate to stop me. Just grab me in the hallway, say, "Hey, Malcolm, can I grab you?" Absolutely, I'll make time for it. So enjoy the year, enjoy your semester, enjoy your seasons. Let me know how I can help. Have a great day.
I sat down with Malcolm Smith less than an hour ago to record this interview on Zoom. From the Matthew Boxler press release on January 30, 2020, J. Malcolm Smith, Salve's interim vice president for student affairs since July and dean of students, has been named the university's vice president for student affairs. Smith, who continues his duties as acting dean of students, has a career in higher education that spans 2 decades with expertise in all aspects of student life, including student conduct and advocacy, retention efforts, policy writing, housing management, and budget oversight. For 3 years, he served as the university's Title IX coordinator. Quoting Dr. Kelly J. Armstrong, Salve Regina's president, "I've been impressed by Malcolm's ability to juggle multiple issues, yet never lose sight of what is most important as he advocates for our students and his student affairs team. He is the consummate professional. Malcolm has embraced Salve's Mercy mission, and we are truly fortunate to have him as a senior leader on campus. I look forward to working with him to continue providing the best possible experience for our student athletes." Since arriving at Salve as Dean of Students in 2013, Smith's top priority has been to promote student success. He has gained students' respect across campus as a staunch advocate for their voices and concerns, even as his role as Dean sometimes required him to be a disciplinarian. Quoting Malcolm Smith, "I'm genuine with students. I believe as a student, it is easier to talk to and be honest with someone you know who cares about you and respects you. That sometimes means I have to share a hard truth with them, but I make sure to always do that with care. I respect the students and let them know, and they see that through my words and actions." Let's now go to our recorded interview. Well, good afternoon, Malcolm. Thanks for joining us here today on SeahawkTalk. I know you're very busy. I want to flash back to September 9, when we had our Seahawk orientation that Jody welcomes you to and brings you in to address our freshman class, which was one of our biggest classes ever. And you had 3 words that really stood out: pride, integrity, and dignity. Talk about that and how it involves Salve Regina student athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the opportunity first to talk to all of our athletes, our students. Great to be on this broadcast. Pride, integrity, and dignity, I think, is for me, embodies the way that I try to carry myself every day throughout my life. And I think they're attributes that if we can carry ourselves with dignity, meaning we're deserving people's respect, with integrity, meaning we follow through and we carry out everything we're going to do, and we do it in a way that's good for as many people as possible, then we can certainly walk around with pride, right? That we're doing our best to make this a better place every day. And sometimes that's on a very small scale, right? Sometimes you're only doing what's good for one person. And I always argue that goes back to the whole starfish argument, right? And when the little girl throws the one starfish and they say, well, what does it matter to all these? It matters to that one, right? You got to do your best every day. Once again, I think to carry yourself in a way that brings respect from other people and you give respect, that you can live with yourself and being an honest and person full of integrity, you can walk with your head a little high in that situation.
And you walk the talk. You are there every day for our students and especially our student athletes as well. Talk about your presence on campus.
Yeah, I think that I came here to be Dean of Students 7 years ago. Right? I remember Oh, I can't remember the year. I probably don't even want to. I probably want to say the year out loud. But I was walking across my campus as a graduate student. I went to grad school in San Francisco. I went to undergraduate. So I was walking with the dean of students, and we're going across the yard. From one building to another is probably 2 football fields, right? And by the time we got across the field, he probably said hello to students by name to no less than a dozen people. And I thought to myself, that's how I want to do this, right? So I intentionally, I make myself available, I'm accessible, I'm present in their lives. Whether I'm hungry or not, I'm in the dining hall every day at lunchtime, most times for breakfast, just to grab coffee. I'm at sporting events, I'm at uh, all kinds of student organization events, I'm out supporting our student government. I feel like as a dean of students, and also continuing as a vice president, my job is to be their number one advocate, right? And I think you advocate better for people whom you know, and they're more likely to come to you if they know you. So I've always operated that way, and I don't. As long as it keeps working, I guess I won't stop. And if it stops working, I'll quit. I don't want to do this work if I can't lead with love, right?
Right. Well, Malcolm, how much will that change with what we can anticipate being the new normal?
Yeah. Well, I think it'll change in ways that my high fives will be 6 feet apart rather than there'll be no actual slap of the high five, right? And that's difficult for me because I am a handshaker, a hugger, a high five. How'd your test go today? A pat on the back. Um, it'll change because I'll have to constantly remind myself to maintain that social distance. And then we'll see how that evolves over time. But what won't change is the spirit behind it. I think, referring back, the integrity that goes into the work that I do every day, the pride that I walk around here with, for being here for the students. I think all that comes back, and physically it may be different, but my hope is that the feel is the same. I think our students know that I have a great deal of love for them, and I operate from that place. That won't stop. That won't stop because of 6 feet.
And you never stop. So talk about what you've got going on. This will be airing at 3:00. You are busy at that time. What's happening?
At that time, I'm on the Rhode Island Department of Health call for. I'm one of 2 of the senior level representatives for the school at the state level, and trying to figure out the best and safest way for us to reopen campuses. So we're working every day to make Salve a safe place, to make sure Rhode Island continues to be a safe place, and to make sure that these experiences our students are in are the best they can be. And I want them to be incredibly fulfilling, exciting, challenging always times. I want our students to come back and enjoy their years at Salve. That's what we're working for.
What can we share with our audience about the timelines that we know that are coming up, that some decisions will be made and or announced?
Yeah, well, I can say that all of the universities in the state have to send a report outlining their plan for reopening their campuses to the Department of Health and the governor's office by June 15th. So that's, less than 20 days away from now, I think 19 days. Our plan is to have a draft ready for next Monday, the 1st. Perfect that over the next, or get as close to perfect as we can get over those next 14 days. And then the governor's office has asked for 14 days to respond. So it's my suspicion that following July 1, we'll start to roll out some decisions and some more concrete plans, with the understanding that this virus and this pandemic has been shifting on us every day, and that we may need to pivot 2 or 3 times after July 1st. But we will communicate every decision we make that's final, and if we have to pivot from those, we'll communicate again, with the underlying goal of bringing our students back to campus, having Salve be the experience that everyone's looking for, and at the same time keeping everyone extremely safe.
Well, thank you for joining us on Seahawk today. I know you're very busy, and I appreciate you giving our audience some insight into what's coming down the road for Seahawks and all of college students within the state of Rhode Island.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. I'm glad to carve out some time, so I really appreciate the opportunity. Go Seahawks.
Go Seahawks. Thanks, Malcolm.
All right, thank you.
That's Malcolm Smith joining us on Seahawk Talk earlier in the 2 o'clock hour. And we've been blessed to have 20 segments each week, 4 segments a day, times 5 days a week. And that's given us 20 opportunities to connect with Seahawk personnel or Salve Regina athletes, Salve Regina alumni. In this 3 o'clock spot, the 3 to 3:15 spot on Tuesdays has been inconsistent, but good. We've had Tom Blaney, Matt Finlayson, Andrew Pizzelli, our athletic trainers, David Cox, Amanda Carston, Emily Miller, Rebecca Ramirez-McKinley, Dawn Hahn, Matt Finlayson again, Andrew Pizzelli again, Pam Haru from admissions, and we finish it with our Vice President for Student Affairs, Malcolm Smith. What a great time to catch up with him, and he gave us an update on to what we can expect or anticipate for going forward through this pandemic, and hopefully there's good news on the horizon. I'm Ed Habishaw. We'll be back with our men's lacrosse head coach, Patrick Cooney, after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Here's what I did. I clicked the audio button where I thought was unclicking mute. I ended up dragging the slider. You know what that is on a mixer, right? I dragged that down and it actually muted me even though I didn't unmute myself. So welcome back to Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 26th. I'm Ed Habershaw, ready to connect with our head men's and women's tennis coach, Mr. Adam Zakharov, and we're going to head out to the courts at Cary Mansion. Hello, Coach Zakharov. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good, Adam. Good seeing you on a bright and sunny day. I've got my weather app already loaded here, and folks can see. Point to this.
66. It feels more like 70 out here, I'll tell you.
Yeah, here we go. We've got 66 degrees, and that's in Newport, and it's definitely sunny. So, Adam,
yeah, it's beautiful.
No better place to be than out on the tennis courts. What's been happening with you this last week?
I've been busy. I'm using a lot of sunscreen lately because it's been good weather, but playing a lot of tennis.
What SPF do you use?
I've got 50 out here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've got some folks playing some tennis behind you.
Yeah, I'm in the. I actually didn't have a break today from 9 a.m. straight through to 5. So I asked the kids if they wouldn't mind doing a little serving, and then I'm gonna let you take one of them one at a time and just ask them a tennis question.
I'm not sure what I'll ask them, but let me ask you. Tell me how you teach somebody to serve.
So I actually teach the serve very simply. So here's the thing about the serve. Not only is the serve statistically and logically speaking the shot you're going to hit more than any other shot in tennis, it's also the only shot that you get to feed to yourself, right? You don't have to rely on your opponent trying to throw you off guard. So in that sense, it should be the easiest stroke out there. However, we tend to complicate the heck out of it.
How do we complicate it?
What's that?
How do we complicate it? I know, but tell me how it's complicated.
By throwing the ball wrong. It's a toss. It's not a throw. Also by the movements and little hitches and this and that. The way I teach it is I throw a ball as if I'm a pitcher on a baseball mound. And I throw it, and then I get my racket, and I show them the same motion, and I say, did you see any difference? And there's not. The difference being where the point of contact with the tennis racket on the serve is where you would release on the throw in a baseball. So you've got to get that toss just a little bit higher. That's where your hand is now, up where the racket is. It's the same follow-through motion. If you see a pitcher comes into the front of the mound after, that's a tennis player. His back foot comes into the court after making contact, so it's not a foot fault.
Yeah.
A lot of the key is in the toss, so you want to have that toss in the same exact spot every time so that you build consistency.
What if it's windy out or sunny out? How do you adjust for those elements?
So the wind, I adjust by actually having a little bit more of a compact swing and not tossing as high up in the air so that it doesn't have as much time to move around. The sun can be more difficult. The sun, I generally have to change my serve by tossing a little out to the side, so maybe I'll turn into a slice serve, or even a little bit over my head if it's direct sun, and I'll hit more of a topspin serve. But that doesn't happen quite as often, but when it does, I try to adjust a little.
And the way tennis courts are oriented in a north-south direction, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, so it crosses over. At some point, at either end of the court, a right-hander and or a left-hander are going to have challenges with that sun factor. And when I was putting together doubles pairs on our teams, I always loved to be able to pair a lefty and a righty together, because that way, if there was a sun factor out there on a given day within a match, they could make the determination on when they would serve, on which side they would serve.
Yeah, that's smart. you hope that you have enough righties and lefties to do that with.
Yeah.
But that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, there were some seasons that were blessed with a good
Lefty.
balance of lefties and righties, where they just complemented each other, and that was on both.
Lefties are a lot more rare in tennis. Yeah,
They are. Like even Rafael Nadal grew up a natural right-hander, and then he was trained to be an outstanding tennis player as a lefty by his uncle.
yeah, Uncle Tony.
Yeah, he was converted from a righty to a lefty, and how remarkable is that? Can you imagine how deadly he'd be as a righty if that was his natural strength?
Yeah,
And he developed the strength in that left arm unbelievably. Have you ever tried to play opposite hand, Adam?
I have. Yeah, and back in the day, I've done some goofy little tournaments where we played left-handed tournaments and things like that. Yeah.
How challenging is that?
It is. And I actually know a few people that will go to their left hand for a backhand. My father didn't pick up the sport until he was 45 years old, and he, back where I'm from in Connecticut, he won our club championship a couple of years in a row because he was a really good athlete. But he was more of a baseball player, and it was crazy watching him play tennis because he just made it happen. There was nothing natural about it. It was all just getting the ball by will.
And that's the beauty of the sport. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Just get the ball to the other side and let them worry about it.
Yeah.
We can all perfect these beautiful-looking strokes, this great-looking serve, motion-wise, but really it all comes down to take this ball, which has no brain, and put it on the other side of the net, and give your opponent the opportunity to A, make a mistake, or send it back your way.
Yeah.
But I like how you approach it. It is a simple game. Keep it simple and let the students, especially the youngsters that you have with you today, enjoy the game and not overwhelm them with so much
Guys, how you doing over there? Checking in on them.
Yes.
you mind if we say hi to one at a time real quick?
Yeah, bring them on.
I've had them serving for 10 minutes now.
Well, have them do this.
All right.
Have them serve and volley so that'll bring them to the net, and then they can come right over to your position.
Hey, guys, one at a time. I want to have you do a serve and come in like you're going to volley, and then one at a time just come sit in the chair, all right? Maya, you go first. Okay. Here comes Maya Nunes, all right?
All right, here we go.
Maya Nunes, yeah, just serve and come in like you were going to volley.
This is on Ruggles Avenue in Newport.
And now come sit here real quick and say hi to Coach Ed. This is Maya Nunes.
Hello.
Hi, Maya. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You got a bright, sunny day out there.
You're up there.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really
how
hot.
exciting it is to be able to play this sport.
Yeah. How many years?
No, how exciting is it to be able to play the sport?
Oh, yeah. It's really exciting because, like, in quarantine, you can't play anything else, really.
Yep. Just wash your hands,
Yeah.
keep your distance, and you'll be good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Go hit
Thanks,
some serves.
Maya.
Good
Here
talking to you,
comes
Maya.
Brody Johnson. Brody with a big serve. Boom. Comes all the way in to the chair. Come on. This is Brody Johnson.
Hey, Brody, nice job. I love that serve and volley.
You're up, Beta, coming up.
As you're approaching that net on the volley after the serve, give yourself a split step, get both feet balanced on the court, and then you're ready to go in whatever direction that return comes, and you're good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Keep playing.
All right. Cool.
Thanks, Brody.
No problem.
I think we've got
All right,
one
Beta.
more player hitting serves.
All right, Meta. Here comes Meta Ellendrung.
All right.
After a big serve.
Hey, Maida, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I love the serve and volley part of the game.
Yeah, thank you.
I love the opportunity to end points quickly. So if you have the advantage as a server, come in, put the ball where you want it, and then take that split step as you come in to hit that first volley, and then just keep closing in on the net.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, have fun out there.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Coach. I just wanted to get them involved. So
Yeah, that was great,
We're in the
Adam.
middle of the
Thank
lesson.
you. I appreciate it. They
yeah,
look
they're
like they're having a lot of
kids,
fun.
and wow, what great tennis players these three are.
They look
For
like
their
they're having
age,
a lot of fun.
all three of them they're just going into high school, and boy, are they good.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on Seahawk Talk. This has been a great 9 weeks with Seahawk Talk. We're in our final week. But
This is it? This is the last one?
This is the last one. And as I said in my email, the last one for season 1. This is the first time we've ever done this. I can see this coming back after June 1. Not sure when we'll restart it, resume season 2.
It's been a ton of fun, Coach, and I know you've heard a lot of compliments, but what a great job you've done. You know, I told Owen Curtin when he was getting ready for it, I was like, he's like Joe Buck. Like, he's like such a good interviewer. It's unbelievable.
It's a lot of fun. I think we can only get better doing it through all the technicalities. What I envision, Adam, though, is turning it over to you and other student athletes to be able to host it on your own and have it as your vehicle to do things with it. And it may not be 5 days a week. It may be once a week, and then we rotate teams into different weeks.
Yeah.
Because once we get back, guess what? We're going to be busy.
Back.
We're going to be busy playing sports.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for that.
So there'll be less time for Seahawk Talk, but hopefully more time for playing the sports that we love. So
yes.
We'll probably reduce this to once a week when we're back in full gear, ready to play our sports, and then probably rotate each sport into once a week segments.
All right.
But we've got plenty of stuff to work with.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. I really enjoyed being part of it.
Well, thank you, Adam. I'm so happy that you're back as our head coach. And love what you're doing with the program, and I see it just both men's and women's programs just skyrocketing in the very near future.
I hope so. I'm really working for that.
Excellent. Well,
all right, Coach.
Get back
Have
there, out there in the courts, and I want to see you serving volley too.
One?
Yes, please.
Should I? All right.
Yeah.
Coach wants me to serve and volley one, and then we're into a game right now.
This is Adam Zakara, head coach for SalveAthletics University men's and women's tennis, approaching the service line, serving to the ad box. Look at him come in. Woo! Well done.
I gotta be honest, it went out a little bit.
Hey, thank you for your honesty.
I'll see you, Coach.
Take care, Adam.
Bye.
That's Adam Zakara, head coach for SalveAthletics University men's and women's tennis. I'm Ed Habishaw. We'll be back with our track and field segment after a short break. Welcome back to Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 26th, the day after Memorial Day. Because of scheduling conflicts, I sat down earlier this morning with shirt and tie on with members of our women's track and field team, head coach Matt Hurd Sydney DeCesare and Maggie McCarthy. Both Sydney and Maggie are from the class of 2021, although you'll see through this interview that we may have to amend that for one of them. Here we go with that interview. So welcome, Coach Hurd, Sydney DeCesare and Maggie McCarthy. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's taken me a while to get back into the swing of things after a 3-day weekend. What's it like for you guys?
Probably the same. Nice weather.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed it. And here on Tuesday, May 26th, the day after Memorial Day, where we remember the folks that have helped make our country great. And one of those folks that has helped make our country great is your coach, Matt Hurd. Coach Hurd, tell me about these two great Americans that we have on screen with us.
Well, you're right. They are, in fact, two great Americans. And I have one question for you. I know that Rhode Island has begun to loosen up the, the lockdown. Sid, you're from Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And Maggie, you're from New York. I think,
I am.
I don't know because New York does different things in different places. So Sid, how has that affected you? Can you go out and boogie a little bit or something? What do you do?
So right now we're in phase 1, so we can definitely go out a little bit more. The beaches, 2 beaches opened today. And then a lot of a lot of restaurants with outdoor seating open. So like that's kind of nice to get out and be able to sit outside and eat. A little bit of like normal life coming back. But other than that, it's getting a lot better. We can definitely do more things, but wherever you go, like no matter what, you still have to wear a mask. So that's the only difference that we need to make sure.
And you can drive to beaches where before you could only walk. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
Yeah, but only 2 of them open. So
Mhm.
I guess you can like actually go and lay out on 2 of them, and they're only letting in like a certain amount of capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like first come, first serve.
How about you, Maggie?
We're still shut down, so not much going on here. I think my county reopens today, actually, which is
Mhm.
kind of exciting, but not much is really changing as of right now.
Mm. So obviously our season ended a little sooner than we had wished for or expected. Sid, what was your reaction? I mean, how did that affect you immediately?
I mean, it was a disappointment because I felt like we were all training so hard and like coming together as a group. And I feel like every year we have such a great group. So I was like looking forward to how this would come. I was also training in the steeplechase. So that would have been curious to see. But I was disappointed. I mean, to find the positive, I was lucky and fortunate that like we still have one more year. I feel horrible for the seniors that lost their final season, but overall, it was tough to lose track and like not be able to come back with everyone again.
How about you, Maggie?
I was very upset about it because everyone was training super hard, like Sid said, and the freshmen that came in showed so much potential and they were really going to make a difference on the team. So that was upsetting. But like Sid said, I just felt awful for the seniors. But the good thing with track is that it never really ends. There's still club teams that you can run for after college, and there's still opportunities to run, which is nice at least.
Yeah. I know what you guys both said. As a coach, I'm looking and saying, wow, we have all of these unanswered questions. And the answers were, you imagine them to be really great. Like Sid, I was just dying to see you in the steeplechase, because, it's a new event. You sort of embrace it. It's, what can I do here? There's like a lot of, possibilities, and then again, we haven't run the steeplechase in our conference meet for a couple of years because the venue at which we were competing doesn't have the requisite equipment. So this is a new event. Who knows? Conference champion? You never know, because there's no history. That was great. And Maggie, as I think I told you in practice, you are looking fantastic. Really great. The best I've ever seen. I was just drooling, to see what you could do. And you take that with both of you and multiply it by the number of people on our team. I mean, you watch our sprinters in practice, and it's not like you got people strung out. They're all together. And we have a freshman who was right behind you in practice, and you're thinking, holy moly. And she's looking to go into an event which she hasn't really done. So it's like, what could this be? It's all those just unanswered questions that were really, just like you were saying, really frustrating, to do. What were your goals, Sid? I mean, do you have any goals in your events or anything?
Well, I definitely want to place and score in the steeplechase if that ever came. I mean, I think my first goal was just getting over it because we never had a barrier, so I would just use the hurdles. But I was just looking forward to competing in the steeplechase and then just improving my 1500 time.
And Maggie?
Definitely had my eye on that 400 school record. So I think that goal will carry on into senior year as well. And just to see the team just perform to the best of their ability, for sure, was one of the goals.
Yeah, I know, obviously, I know the person who has the school record, and she is, like you and Sid, a great American. And, I'm sure that she would love to have you break it. I mean, that sounds strange, but she's that kind of a person, who yes, I did this, but I would like to see Seahawk athletes do better, and break it. Do you have any other thoughts on this season at all? Or maybe next year? What are you looking at toward next year?
I think just taking how much hard work we put into this season and just making it even harder for next season, just motivating everyone to just say we worked so hard and next year will just be even better. So I think just to get everyone roped up together as a team again, and everyone to find their best ability in any event. And I guess just have people try new events, see where we could have people bring out a hidden talent or something, and then just anything that'll just benefit us as a whole and a team. So I guess just make everyone motivated and excited for next season.
Absolutely. Because we have had some surprises. Some people come up and said, Matt, can I do this? And I said, what the heck am I a coach for? I mean, I didn't know you did that. Didn't do my homework, and they did well. Yeah. And you have cross country coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So how's that going?
It's good. I started just running here and there. Coach Rob sends us just a little guideline of if you feel like running today, here's some opinions you could do. But it's just, I guess, just train. We have a lot of incoming freshmen. We have 16 incoming freshmen. So that'll be a very big team, but it'll be fun. I just hope that we get our season and that it all goes well with preseason in August.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course the thing is you never know what it's going to look like.
I know.
And from state to state, Maggie's still shut down in her house, and you can go out and train, and you never know. Mm-hmm. So what are your goals for next year, Maggie?
So for cross country, I'm thinking of doing it again, giving it another try. Maybe you'll get a season.
Hence the shirt.
Yeah. So I just think I'm going to train as hard as I can and then see how I do with the races, because the long distance and me, I don't know if we still mesh well together. So that's definitely something that I want to see in the fall for myself.
Well, maybe we can put a couple of people together with you and run a relay over the course of the cross-country race, Give you the opening, or maybe the opening leg, or middle leg, or something like that. And
oh, yeah.
See how that works. Yeah, yeah. Ed, do you have any questions?
I sure do. Sydney and Maggie, you both are ready to go the distance in terms of academics, entering your senior year. Talk about your major. You're both administration of justice majors, and where you're going specifically within there.
Well, Maggie, do you actually want to say yours?
I'm an elementary and special
Okay,
education major. So basically, it's a tough major, I have to say, but it's very doable to balance with sports, which is nice. And you get a lot of field work in the classroom. So we're working with the students in a whole class or one-on-one and in small groups, which is really cool. So you get to see kind of what you're going to be doing in the future. So it's exciting.
How have you prepared for the virtual classroom?
Oh, I guess just learning by experience. So by our professors using Zoom, we're also learning how to use Zoom for the students. And then we would take videos of ourselves teaching and send it out to Pell teachers to use. So we only did like 1 or 2 lessons in that. But my mom is also using virtual learning. So I've been watching her do it and learn from her as well.
Excellent.
So I'm Administration of Justice with a focus in cybersecurity. I'm actually graduating early, so I will graduate in December, but then I'll stay for my master's program. I know I'm not leaving just yet, so I'll just start that a little bit sooner. But I agree with Maggie. It's very very easy and comfortable to balance both like the academics and the athletics. We have so many like resources on campus with like coaches and faculty and like classmates to just like help and like find your way. So I feel like I came into Salve like with an idea of administration of justice and followed it, and then luckily I loved it, so I was like on the right track, and then just followed all the steps and got my way to just complete the credits a little bit sooner. So yeah, I really like it, and I don't really know what I want to do yet in cybersecurity, but I guess I'll just play around with that and see what I can get.
Excellent.
You can come to my house and make sure that I'm secure.
Okay.
My error there on the majors, because our third or fourth guest on this segment was supposed to be Alexis De Cruz, who is also ADJ with Sydney DeCesare, and also class of 2021. Well, technically, Sydney, I guess you'll have to be amended to the class of 2020.
Yeah, but we'll see. I still count 2021.
Well, excellent. You've been a wonderful guest on Seahawk Talk today. Really appreciate you coming on and joining Coach Hurd, who did a wonderful job running today's interview. Thank you for joining us on Seahawk Talk, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the fall for cross country.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whoops.
Bye, Sid. Bye, Maggie.
Oh, don't leave yet. That's Sydney DeCesare, Maggie McCarthy, and Coach Matt Hurd on Seahawk Talk today. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Ed Habashar. We'll be back on Wednesday with more Seahawk Talk. See you then.
Better keep your vanity. Better keep your distance. Better keep your vanity. Better keep your distance. Better keep your vanity. Better keep your distance. Better keep your vanity.
And now is the end of the program.